Hello and welcome to Homeless in Australia. My name's Sam. Beautiful evening. Time to be all dystopian and doom, I suppose. I mean, first, we're gonna cook up this unrefrigerated fish and pray to every god that exists that it's still okay. Presume it is, it's only a couple of days. Just put oil. And look, I'm gonna do this. Click, there you go. Rocking the grandpa slippers. It's not windy, so I bought the butane stove outside. And leaving that in the yard for 6 months. Half cleaned it, so good job. And, hang on. I feel like shit. Hello, Ninja Cat. There you go. Dinner's in. I can't find my give a fuck today. I just can't find it. Okay, the cat. If I try and move the camera, it'll fuck up. Yeah, come and say hello to the planet. There you go. Hey, darling. There you go. Off you go. Come on. You good? What are you doing? What's the matter? You've got your dinner. Go have your dinner. Yeah? Oh yeah, great. I'll just use this spoon. Oh my god. Alright, go get the tiny tongs. Excuse me, please. Thank you. I'm sitting on a big bowl of shade cloth. Oh, that's hilarious. Who needs one of those, you know, the fancy yoga ball things sit in their offices? Oh, I sit on the thing now. Yeah, well, fuck them. Mine's better. Oh, hello, spider. It's kind of difficult to not be sensory overwhelmed just walking out your own front door. I don't want to squish the spider. That's about to go past. Quick, everybody, pose for the fucking audience. I mean, how do you tell if made with 100% fish fillet? I mean, ordinarily that would be a good thing. When you've just had it sitting in a little cooler bag for 3 days? It has been the amount of time that it would take this green to turn that shade of yellow. And I'm no scientist, but just cook it extra crispy. Here, I'll put more fat on top. Alright. How do you know a psyop is working? This is your thinking time. How do you know if a psyop's working? Every side is shouting the same soundbite. Everyone is in the same boat, all rowing in the same direction. America is doing great with the PSYOPs currently. You got all sides shouting the same soundbite. You're like, hang on a minute. Didn't you lot used to disagree with each other? We still disagree with each other, but we totally agree just for different reasons. Whatever. I don't know. I'm not talking about America. I'm just trying to use that as a fucking shitty segue into Australia. Because Australia's PSYOP is one line, and that's all that's needed. Well, everybody has to live somewhere. And welcome to the story of how Australia has manufactured its own subprime mortgage collapse and property collapse. Australia has been deliberately and consciously kicking that can down the road ever since the actual original event. And I don't know if they're just running out of shit in the barrel to reach for. But now my country, it doesn't even bother to lie to you. That's another thing. How do you know when, it's actually fucking leveled up? It's when they don't even bother to lie to us anymore. When they don't even bother to put time into a cover story. They know that they don't have to even afford the level of respect required to convince something. Everyone's already been convinced. Now we're just piling on more shit on top. So in 2000 and whatever it was, 2009, 2012, one of them. Don't worry, I tried to make this video 6 times already, and it just fractals out because that's how global economics are. They're not simple. I'm not sure why I was talking about crocodiles for 15 minutes in one of the efforts, but that's cool. That's cool. Must have just needed to talk about crocodiles. They're pretty cool animals. So yeah. 2000 and whatever, 2009, 2012. Because I keep thinking it's one or the other, and then when I actually look, I'm like, who cares? So what happened? Let's do a quick, vague, totally didn't learn this in a school anywhere, history lesson. So, what was happening? America, and we all know when I say America, I'm not talking about the fucking people of America. I'm saying, in this particular situation, the American banking system, but it probably wasn't even just American banks, because they're all linked in. I bet the European banking system and did bonds with that one and fucking traded false gold and who knows what bullshit they do, man. Anyways. American banks were handing out mortgage loans with really great fucking rates to low-income people, blah, 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 predatory fucking lending. Knowing full well that the terms of these mortgages, these people were never ever going to actually be able to pay their mortgages. They offered people vast amounts of debt, and desperate people took opportunity of it. They secured a family home. They became property owners. They provided safety for their families. And then who knows, I don't even know if the interest rates like went weird or whatever. I'm just saying. What happened? Oh no. Suddenly, a thing that it worked great while it worked, until it stopped working. And then the whole fucking scheme just unraveled. And the only reason that any of that had any impact at all outside of that country itself, fuck that, Slayer. Oh man, I'm pissed off with it now, but last night I was thinking like, oh man, it'd be hilarious in 20 years. I'd be like, remember that time you just lived at trains? Anyways, it's just cooked or what? Oops, well it's out. Just leave that sizzle for a bit, I suppose. Yeah, let's have a look. I mean, it looks cooked. You want to actually, make sure it's getting in and not just cooking the outside, but... Fuck, man. 2.5 years, more than 2.5 years living publicly, and I've not food poisoned myself yet. So, God willing, please, can I not food poison myself today? Not in the fucking mood for that hobby. The only reason that any of that rippled outside of the country itself is purely because America is like very globally connected with all its finances. But also lots of countries are. Like, so the flow-on effect of that just fucking rippled through the whole planet, and we had that global financial crisis thing. In Australia, like the country of Australia apparently was one of the weathered that whole thing really well. Okay, I'll explain to you how and why we just sailed through that out the other side. Yeah, it's called Western Australia. It's called mining. Look at a map of Australia. The entire western half of the continent is mining. There's very few people in that entire west. Think like everything west of Illinois, empty. Colorado, empty. Nevada, empty. Everything, empty. And then you got that one Perth. You know, the mini LA. And Australia proceeded to simply dig bigger holes at a much faster rate. And we were mining. And we fucking just dug our way through that entire GFC with mining. Iron ore, all low. Australia is really good at making rocks. That's it. We don't have manufacturing here. We don't have processing here. We just take big rock and put it on ship and fucking send it somewhere else. And they do all the processing, and they have all the labour hire, and they have all the benefits of the... Anyways, that's... You see how these videos start to get... So how Australia avoided completely getting sunk along with a lot of other countries. I mean, like, has anyone checked on Greece? I'm still stuck back at the fact that apparently Greece had no money. And all of Europe were, like, complaining, and they were all going to have to lend Greece money because Greece just couldn't exist anymore. But then they were never going to be able to pay back those loans, and they were trying to get like no interest repayments, and I mean, like, what the fuck? Greece still exists. People in Greece, have money to buy into shops. Like, I'm just saying, clearly I don't understand any of these things. But they must I'm saying the world figures out something. They're like, oh no. Oh, that country but sometimes the countries just do disappear. So Australia basically just ramped the fuck up with our mining all through the 2012, all of that. And that is how we just kept our books looking good. And the whole rest of the planet went, oh wow, look at Australia. The federal treasurer of that time got given the Global fucking National Treasurer's Award. Okay, whatever. At the same time that was happening, Australia also quietly acknowledged that our property market was already overvalued back in 2012. Australia acknowledged that they were handing out fucking mortgage loans to people that probably couldn't afford to pay them back. Australia acknowledged that the lending criteria needed to be made more stringent, And so all these fucking protection laws were put in place. And all of a sudden, people that could have got a mortgage last week couldn't get a mortgage because now the fucking rules had changed. Oh no, we used to calculate it on could you repay it if interest rates rose X amount. But now what we're doing is we got to make sure you could repay it if it rose 2 or 3 times X amount. Because we need to make sure that we are protecting ourselves, as a fucking country. And I'm just saying, this is what they were saying. They needed to make sure they were protecting themselves in the actual mortgage market from that same thing happening. Because here's 2 fun facts about citizens of Australia. One fact about citizens, 1 fact about Australia's banking system. Citizens in Australia do not have personal savings. We didn't get taught that good. we no learn that skill good luck. We don't have personal savings. Yes, there's people that do have savings and they have whatever financial portfolios, this, that and the other. But as a general rule, Australian households carry, and this is all from, they've published reports and shit. Australian households carry some of the highest personal debt, credit card debt, car loans, just all that normal shit. They have a really high debt load. It just seems like it's way more normal in Australia just to live. That's how we live, man. The idea of actually saving, my dad tried so hard. He spent my entire childhood save up and pay for things with cash. And the other one was everything you earn, set aside 10% for long-term savings. And I remember I was 6. And I remember asking him, I said, oh, that's a good idea. So I set all that aside, and that's how I would save up to buy a new TV. And he's just like, oh, fucking God help us all. No, you don't put that for buying a new TV. You put that for when you're old and you're 60 years old or 70 years old. But also, if you have a very low, I'm just saying for everyone that has a very low particular fixed income, 10% can actually just be a way too high a thing. Man, I got cat hair in my nose. My poor physical body's just not fucking coping lately. Alright, where was I up to? So yeah, Australian citizens and households carry a lot of debt just as part of life. That's just apparently, according to the numbers and shit, that's what we do. There's 9 minutes worth of video recording left until this memory card's full. Challenge accepted. Ready, set, go. Those protections were only put in place for like 3 or 4 or 5 years. People in Australia don't pay attention to anything that's going on. I try to not pay attention, but I just see shit going past and I go, oh, interesting. All the laws that were introduced back then, oh no, they're finished now, they've been wound back, and now the lending criteria has gone back down to, normal pre-whatever levels. Okay, let's go back in time. Man, those fucking birds are just great. Who needs Men in Black with their little look into my thing when you've got crazy dinosaur birds that can just wipe your mind for you? It's great. The fact about Australian banks. Australian banks hold quite a large percentage of their assets as mortgage. Mortgages, mortgage debt. I'm sure you know that the way a bank values itself comes up with how much the number is. Oh, this bank is worth $20 billion. How? Why? Because they've lent out $18.5 billion to other people in mortgages. They count that as theirs. No, you don't have it. If it's not in your pocket, it's not in your pocket. They have a promissory note from some poor fuck that they're going to pay back $500,000, and they count that $500,000 as already done and dusted, and that's what, It is well reported, not in any of the normal citizen level media, but, you just read news articles. It is well known that Australian banks carry a dangerously high level of mortgage debt. If anything happens like happened in America, where suddenly something happens and then mortgage defaults start kicking over, the Australian banking system is at quite high risk. Because all the money is debts in, they don't have wealth. I don't know. So, Australia has been kicking that can down the road all that time. And we have been incentive after incentive after incentive after incentive to keep the citizen population completely psyoped that this is okay, this is normal, and this is necessary. Now, some cool little government schemes are quite good. When they do subsidised solar panels or first home buyers grant, first home builders grant. So if you're going to build, they go, oh, you don't have to pay stamp duty, whatever all these fucking things are. But the government will kick in a free 10 grand to incentivise different things. That's how you stimulate and guide society, populations where you want them to go. So that's great when it's helping the first home builder grant. That was a good one. We don't have enough housing stock in Australia. It's musical chairs and there are not enough chairs. It's pretty fucking basic. And yet, they whipped them all around. But, first home buyer. If you buy an existing house, alright, the government will kick in 10, 20 grand or whatever. Free money though. They're meant to just be helping you to sidestep one or two of the accessibility issues. If there were people willing to build, do a new build, All right, well, you're trying to, good on you. We'll chuck in an extra 20 grand because for your construction costs. But all of these things are like payments. They are contributions. The government pays the 10 grand. Here you go. Fuck you. Good. Tick the box. Off you go. Good luck with the rest of your life. What Australia has finally recently done is introduced the 5% deposit scheme. Now, it has already existed for a small select eligible group of people with very specific property price upper caps. So what the 5% deposit scheme, the first time, before they've just changed it, they've only announced it in the last couple of weeks. So what it was if you were a person, if you're a young family, what it's designed for. I've got 3 minutes. All right, talk fast. If you're a young family and you're trying to save up a 20% deposit to get a mortgage from a bank, to get a mortgage to buy a family home, and you can see that the actual mathematics, because it's not going to work, because the maximum that you're able to squirrel away towards your deposit every year is less than the average value increase of all property in Australia. They're going backwards the whole time. A lot of people are they're spending a decade trying to get up a 20% deposit. Because a 20% deposit nowadays is apparently $200,000. And so the federal government said, okay, for the lower end of the market, you get 5% deposit yourself, and then the government is going to pay the other 15% deposit, and essentially both together you go to the bank, and then the bank will give the mortgage with the government as the fucking guarantor of the mortgage. Now, when that was they made upper limits. I mean, as in, you can't just go and buy a fucking mansion. Until they decided to change the law, change that scam a couple of weeks ago. They've taken all property price caps off. They've opened it up to, it must have been somehow limited to basically, poor, hard-working, working-class folks. And now they've just opened it the fuck up. And so the children of housing development industry people, yet again, now we've got 3-year-olds buying property on paper and getting... So where Australia right now is headed full steam ahead, we're about to start issuing a shit ton more mortgages at $800,000. Like, first home buyers can't even fart for less than $500,000. Young families are getting told this is normal, $800,000, and they're putting 5% in. They don't have to have lender's insurance because the government is guaranteeing that. And these mortgages are $800,000. Finally, all those fucking chickens and roosters from 15 years ago, finally coming home to fucking rest. I wish you well.